Welcome to the John and Rick Talk All About Insurance podcast, the show where two good old boys with over 80 years of combined experience pull back the curtain on what really works in the insurance world. Join John Smith, industry legend, marathon runner, and top producing agent for nearly 4 decades, and Rick Witcher, proud farmer, regional director, and lifelong relationship builder, as they share stories from the field, interview real agents, and show you how to build a business and a life you love. This ain't corporate. This is real talk from real agents, with a whole lot of laughs, straight up wisdom, and the occasional rabbit trail. Now, here they are, John and Rick.
Hey guys and gals, welcome back to John and Rick. I'm John.
And I'm Rick. Good morning.
We're going to talk to you about insurance and other things and just have a good time. Rick, how's everything in Mississippi, sir?
We're doing good. How about you, John?
I'm still doing therapy on this knee replacement. It's a slow process, especially when you're my age, but I'm getting there.
You're
it's
just
going to
a
be
young
fun.
pup.
Yeah. Hey, today we're going to talk about individual health insurance. For those of you that don't know, there is definitely a market for it out there, and it's a great door opener when you walk into a company and they need benefits. They're usually talking about health insurance, and you're able to come in and help them. They're going to really appreciate that you've done that for them, and that's going to open your doors to sell other products. Okay, Rick, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to get you started if you don't mind. You do the questions and I'll do the answers about
Yeah,
this. Does
well,
that make sense?
that's well, I hear people talking about. Of course, I'm on my wife's coverage where she works. You have your coverage. We don't participate in it, but uh, I've heard people talk about free health insurance through the ACA.
Yes, sir.
But explain that to us.
Okay. Well, health insurance now is all considered ACA compliant. What that means is they have a list of about 9 or 10 items that you have to meet. Preventative care, well benefits covered at 100%. Obama changed that in 2014. To be quite honest with you, when they were talking about these changes, my wife and I, who sell a lot of health insurance, we just decided we were going to either get in health insurance at both feet or we were going to get out of it completely. We decided to get in both feet. And once we saw some of these things where they don't ask health questions now, that makes it more attractive for people that have not had it before, people that have had cancer and not been able to qualify for health insurance because they ask questions. Now they don't do that. So what they do, Rick, is they take someone and they base your premium on the size of your household, how many people you claim on your tax return, and then your income for the family. So if you're not making a ton of money, if you're not making 250,000 a year, you're going to get some tax relief, as I call it, or tax credit or subsidy, whatever terminology you want to use. And if you're at 150% poverty level or greater, most people are going to be able to get a health insurance plan with whatever carrier they choose for free. You have one that's maybe a higher deductible with a $50 copay to the doctor and $100 for a specialist, and it's free. But then if you want a richer plan with maybe a $5 copay for the doctor and a $10 for specialist and a lower out of pocket, it might cost them $10 or $15 a month. Okay. So yeah, there are free plans that are out there.
Well, how do they prove that income, John? That's an important thing. I know it comes to
Yeah,
people's
well,
minds.
that's one of those you have to guess in the future, because if I'm writing someone for 2026, open enrollment will start November the 1st, and you're guessing what their income is going to be for 2026. And usually a good rule of thumb is what you made for 2025. So you have to guess that. The downside of that is if you underestimate and you say you're going to make 30,000 and you make 35,000, then at the end of the year you're going to pay that difference in back in your taxes. When they hit your tax return, they'll take that back from you. And people get really upset about that. But if you think you're going to make 35 to 38,000, then you write 38,000, because if you only make 35 or 34, then the other 4,000 you get that tax credit on your tax return, so you get a little bit of tax break at that point. You're better off to overestimate than underestimate. Does that make sense?
I got you. Well,
People get
what if
upset when they have to pay money on their taxes, and it
Oh,
happens sometimes.
absolutely.
We had a guy that sold a piece of property, made $150,000 capital gain, and didn't tell us, so we didn't adjust his income, and he had to pay taxes back. He had to pay all his premium back that he got credit for, and that's sad, but it happens. But at least you had health insurance. You just, instead of prepaying it, you had to pay it all at one time.
But this is
What other
primarily for
questions you
folks.
got that you're hearing about, Rick?
Uh, it's primarily for folks that don't have coverage available to them. If they have group coverage available, they tell us about that.
Well, you're absolutely correct. The first line of defense is if a group plan is available. So this is going to be for someone who's not covered under a group plan, someone who's not on Medicare, someone who's not on Medicaid, or in Tennessee, it's called TennCare. But if you're eligible for those, you're not eligible for a marketplace plan. Okay, so it does have some lanes that you have to stay in, so to speak. But if you're got a plan that's available through your employer, and it meets the criteria of being a qualifying under the ACA compliance guidelines, then you have to sign up for that if it's affordable. And basically, it's about 10%. If it's less than 10% of your uh, gross earnings, then it's affordable. If it's more than that, it's not affordable, and you're still eligible to do a plan through the marketplace. Same thing with your spouse. If your spouse has got it, you can go under there, and it's affordable. You have to go through your spouse's. Good
And do
question
you
right
think,
there.
John, typically that you'll have much? Well, I know it can be either way, but you'll have better coverage under a group plan if it's available to you.
Well, let's just say I'm going to call Rick on a small group and they got 15 people, and they tell me that they're wanting to look at a group health insurance plan. They just say, hey, what's it going to cost for a group health plan? So I'll just break it down two ways. I'll say, all right, here's a group plan. Here's if you let me come in and do individual plans. So if you do a group plan, let's say that your average age and where they live and things of that nature means your premium is going to be $500 a month. Most of the insurance companies require the company that's participating to pay half the premium. So now you're at 250 from the company that you work at and 250 me as if I'm the employee. But now if I go in and do an individual plan, let's say I get a free plan and it's $50 a month. Well, that's a lot less than 250. But here's the thing too, if I'm going to do a company plan through the group to keep that premium down, I've got to go with a five or $7,000 deductible. It's not going to have a prescription card. It's not going to have copays for the doctor and things of that nature. I've got to make it bare bones minimum just to make it affordable for the company because the company wants to keep their doors open. They don't want to go broke paying for expensive insurance. And we get that. So I'll tell them, you might be better off for us doing individual plans versus a group plan. Of course, if you're over 50 employees, you've got to do a group plan. But if
Hmm.
you're 10, 15, 25 employees, you might be better served to let me just do individual plans for them. And then each employee is responsible for that. The company's out of the health insurance business. So if somebody says, I want a plan and it's free, great. They get no bill. But if they want a plan that's $15, the company is not taking that out of their check. Then it looks like it's a group plan again, and it falls back under all the rules and regulations. But they'd get a bill from United Healthcare or Blue Cross or whoever for the $15, and the employee would just pay that the first of the month.
Well,
Yeah.
and I
For
know
some
that
people, it's a lot better.
you and Stephanie go in and you help groups do that sometimes on the ACA. Tell us
Yes,
about
sir.
how that works and how you can benefit the employer and the employee.
Well, like I said, it's a great door opener. And when I walk in, people, when you talk about benefits, the first thing that pops in their mind, everyone thinks about is health insurance. So when I show them the way that I can do the individual plans that doesn't cost the employer anything, they're all about that. And then from the agent standpoint, I'm going to make $20 a month off each plan or fit 25. It depends on what carrier you put the plan with. And that's every month per person that's on the plan. So if I do a family of three and I'm making $60 a month, I'm making, $720 a year. I'm making pretty good income off that. And, you add, 50 or 100 of those on every year, and $100, you're making 2,000 a month coming in just off health insurance. So you got a nice little base, and then you don't sweat it when you don't get out and really have a good month that month because you've got your income coming in already on the health insurance. But it's good business. Of course, you have to do your testing. A lot of folks that are like me, I've been in the business 46 years. I don't like doing any testing, but you have to do it every year. You've got to be certified so that you know the changes and help them. You've got to get appointed with the insurance companies. There's some other stuff that you have to do, and you've got to just make sure when you sit down with someone, you do it the right way.
But when
Does that
y'all
make
go
sense?
into groups, I know you help them with more than just that if they need to do it through the ACA, but it gives that employer that safety net of knowing that their employees have done it and help them have, I know some folks will say, let's just call in. I'll call into the marketplace. And they
Oh,
have no one
absolutely.
to talk to. It's like calling into any large corporation.
And you'd be surprised how many people that say, "I did it myself," and I go, "Hey, that's great. How's it working for you?" "Well, I'm on this plan, and I thought I was gonna be on a better plan because the marketplace." There's nothing wrong with the marketplace, but when you call in, you got somebody that's getting paid so much an hour, and they don't really know insurance. They know how to help you enroll, and if they tell you it's this plan, they don't really know what doctors in your network, what medications are covered. So I tell people, I say, "Look, you can continue to do that. You can call in and you'll get somebody online and you'll be on hold for 45 minutes. Sometimes you get someone that doesn't speak English and you're trying to figure out exactly what they're saying, or you can just let me do it for you. I mean, it doesn't
Right.
change your premium. And that way I can look and make sure your doctors are in your network. I can make sure that your medications are covered and how they're covered so that you have a better understanding of your plan. And everybody that I ran into said, yeah, I'd rather have you do it. So that
And that
works out
does
good.
help the small employer know that his people are taken care of. They don't have to worry about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It sure does. It
Uh,
sure does.
and I know different states, you might have to use different companies. For instance, in Mississippi, there's a couple of companies. Y'all have more available there in Tennessee. Different states have different companies, but you guys do it with all of them, right?
Yes, sir. You have to have, everybody kind of in your holster, so to speak, since you got the cowboy hat on. I'll use the 6 gun.
There
You
you
can't just
go.
have 1 bullet, you gotta have 6. So, the main players are gonna be Blue Cross, United Healthcare, Aetna, Cigna, Ambetter, is a real popular company. They've got a real good network now using the fast-paced urgent clinics all over the South. But you have the flexibility to choose from plans. So that's what I'm saying. It's important to check your network and make sure your doctors and your medications are in there, your providers, so that one plan might not cover them all, one plan might. So you got to
Right.
have that. The thing that we find, and I'm going to not try to step on anyone's toes on this. There's a lot of people out there that are selling a non-ACA compliant plan, and you've heard about this, I know, Rick. It's
I
just a
have.
glorified hospital indemnity plan that's limited on what it's going to pay a year, and then they load it up with a cancer policy, an accident plan, a critical illness plan. So you've got this plan, and it's bundled around all this other stuff that goes with it. The problem is, if you have open heart surgery, that client is left with a lot of money out of their pocket because they don't really have health insurance. And I really wish those folks would go away and quit selling those kind of plans, because then the clients are left with huge amounts of money that's not being covered when they should have a Blue Cross or a Cigna plan that would pay those kind of things. I think those people are doing a disservice to our clients out there. And, if they're paying a $300 a month premium for that plan and we can actually get them on the marketplace for a plan under $50, what do you think the client wants?
Yeah,
They
and
want
it's
the under
true. The
$50 plan.
marketplace is true major medical, isn't it?
It's true major medical. Yes, sir, it is.
Right. No,
So
that's where
it's
the
working
problem
good
comes
for
in.
people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's where the problem comes in is that people don't know, and that's why it's great to have an agent. We've both been in this business for over 40 years, and we know that it's a difficult business sometimes, but at the same time, people need an agent because they need someone to be working on their behalf.
Yes, sir.
And so that and the different companies. I know you mentioned Blue Cross. That's one of the things. Mississippi doesn't have Blue Cross. They don't participate in the marketplace, but a lot of the plans, a lot of the states do.
Yes,
Uh, so Ambetter is the typical one used here. It has the best network,
right.
but that is
Well,
important to have someone to help them find what's best for them.
right, right. And if you're an agent out there and you're not doing this, this might not be your cup of tea, but it's probably a great way to start in the group and individual market both. There's methods to go out and get information out. We do drop cards. We will go to the library, the co-op. We'll go to a convenience store. We'll put drop cards in the front where you check out, pay for your drinks, whatever, your bag of snacks, and come in, and we'll have those there that say, hey, we can help you get health insurance, just to let people know that. And that'll generate calls coming in for you that are not only for health insurance, but other people, people want other products as well. So it's advertising. You got to get your name out there. You got to tell people what you do. A lot of times people do Facebook ads and say health insurance is available. So I think it's important marketing, but it's also important to get activity that people call in and want to do business with you.
Well, and that's the main thing is you need to cover the folks where they need to be covered. They
Absolutely.
Health insurance is a basic needed product. Life insurance is a basic needed product. My opinion, everyone should have a good cancer policy. And you can cover all those based on what that client needs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and that's all I've got for health insurance, unless you want to chime in with any other comments, Rick.
Well, I don't, John. You do more of that, and I think that was best that you explained. I've been out of that market for a number of years, uh, but you've got my interest up. And like you said a moment ago, if you don't do it, work with someone that does. I do have a lady in my office here that does, and so I suggest people use her, and that works out.
Yes, sir.
Uh, well, guys, we appreciate having you here today or tonight, whatever time you're watching us, and give us a call if
Join
we can
back
help you
in,
out with
John and
things.
Rick. We'll be talking insurance on our next podcast. Y'all have a great day.